Well, here we are, back at it again. What a journey to save Christmas this was. I had a good time. Did you guys have a good time? I remember this was my first Arkham game I played, so I didn't have anything to gauge it on. But when this game came out in 2013, everyone just hated on it. And the reasons they gave were pretty weak. Like Batman isn't Kevin Conroy, it took too many ideas from Arkham City, and it wasn't made by Rocksteady, which, with the failed two games that they made recently, hasn't aged well. So I think we could disregard those complaints and give our thoughts on the game kind of like starting over fresh. And yeah, I like this game. I played the 4 Arkham games starring Batman, and this one's my favorite. City was forgettable, Asylum was revolutionary at the time, and Night was cool but too focused on the tank, which ruined many boss fights. You know, like Deathstroke. But you know what game had a Deathstroke fight? This one. And it was amazing. It was cinematic and tough, almost to the point where I thought you couldn't beat it. But the game kept loading the same checkpoint telling you to get good or get off. And man, it was satisfying to finally win that fight and prove you are the Batman everyone was right to fear. Only to get one shot by some goons with guns on rooftops. But difficulty aside, how does the story hold up? Well, let's see. The story takes place about 2 years into you being Batman, and the story is heavily inspired by the movie Batman Begins, where you trained with Ra's al Ghul, and even has a DLC where you train as Bruce Wayne, like the movie. Anyway, so a new villain rolls into town and takes over the crime scene from Black Mask and the Falcones. And of course, it's Joker. Real original and daring, I know. But yeah, there are a ton of things that clue you into it being the Joker. The game uses elements of the main two baddies to shape the story, like how Black Mask was using gas to kill people, which is actually what the Joker is known for with his laughing gas, which I haven't played the game in years, and along with it being incredibly violent and messed up, my first thought was, hey, isn't that what the Joker does, not Black Mask? So I did feel kinda dumb when it was revealed that it was the Joker posing as Black Mask. And as for the second big bad in this game, Bane, they played on the idea that he is smart enough to figure out who the Batman is. So when you find his hideout and find out he knows who you are, you quickly find out this is one of those Bane stories. He's not here to break your back, he's here to break in your house. The game also makes a point out of how nobody knows Batman's no-kill rule yet. But of course, Joker finds this out because he was saved by Batman, who wouldn't let him fall to his death. Which I thought was pretty clever, since we got to see how Joker changed his whole playbook. His whole strategy changed from killing people and taking over rival gangs, to testing how far he could push Batman. And a lot of the moral questions he gave Batman were no-brainers for me, you know. Go ahead, let Joker kill Bane or off himself, that's 2 less murderers in the world. But Batman doesn't do things that way and sticks to his code, which is why we love him, I guess. You know, I wonder if killing Joker would mess with Batman in some sequel later on. Maybe. But we're here to talk about his origin. Of course, it suffers from the origin title syndrome, which lets you know that there'll be a plot device that undoes any twist, or if there's a contradiction, it will be fixed. But hopefully the fix is believable, which thankfully in this game, it introduces the Chekhov's gun that an untested version of Venom can cause damage to the brain. So naturally, Bane goes too far with his venom and forgets who Batman really is. So the status quo is back to normal and balance is restored. And that's kinda the story. It felt like a Batman adventure, and I kinda think a more grounded, down-to-earth Batman story is a good way to introduce the character. The villains were believable and realistic, but they could be a tad boring. The 8 assassins they hired to take you out were nothing more than padding to stretch the game out to roughly 12 hours. Unless there are certain boss encounters or mobs you can't get past. Which, I forgot how many mobs they make you take on. Like, I would clear a room only to find myself in another stealth takedown room. Then after that, I'd find myself in another mob. Those were fun and the reason you play the games, but I don't think they had people speedrunning the game in mind when I found myself experiencing deja vu with each encounter. Because, you know, normally when you play this game, you're exploring the city and doing side quests and, you know, Riddler puzzles, stuff like that. So, don't hold my gameplay against this game. Oh right, the other bosses in the game, I almost forgot about them. Can we all agree that the Electrocutioner was a waste of a villain? He kinda got memed on, yet his gloves were so vital to the story when you kept using them to save people and win major fights. And I am not giving him credit for defeating Bane without killing him by taking his cliche threat seriously. I mean, come on, that was just bad. I don't really have much to say about the rest of the roster. Each villain showed up on cue to get in the way and be a typical boss fight, except for the one you have to seek out. She seems to be like a secret boss or something, but I didn't have time for that. It was the Christmas season, and I needed Batman to save Christmas. And that's exactly what we did. We spread holiday fear among the criminals, and we even got the die-hard one of them into a tree. And Batman can wake up Christmas morning knowing he didn't kill anyone he left out in the snow overnight. So, in conclusion, I think this game took full advantage of the origin story premise, and I was impressed by the gameplay. Well over 10 years later, the game plays great, except for the minor glitches that caused me to restart checkpoints. But those pale in comparison to many glitches you'll find today. So that really doesn't ruin the experience for me. And the AI, I swear, is much better in this game than it was in the Spider-Man ones. I could get away with a lot in those games, but if I made too much noise or made one mistake, the AI in this game made me pay for it. But it was awesome learning the mechanics of this game again, and each fight was a new chance to get better. And that really made it exciting, like all the way up to the very end of it, which it's kind of one of those games where it sucks that it's over, but man, is it awesome to actually beat the game and feel the satisfaction of your victory over a hard game. And with that, let's talk about rating the game. For story, I would give it a 5 out of 5. It is an origin story, but it ups the ante and brings some high stakes to it without feeling like it painted itself into a corner. As for gameplay, I would say 4 out of 5, since it did feel like I was going from one mob fight to another. And for visuals, I give it a 5 out of 5 on graphics. It's kind of strange rating games with graphics nowadays, since most games can do what they want with realism or style, but this game has both. Alright, that's a wrap. Just in time to start wrapping presents. Thanks for spending the holidays with me, and have a Merry Christmas. See you next time.